Hello, Degens. Welcome to Degenerate Takes. I am the perfect one, AJ, and of course, with me, as always, is my co-host Noah. Follow us on in Twitter at Brofict1 for myself, at N_Engelbretson for Noah. And as always, thank you for listening or watching, however it may be, YouTube, Spotify, any podcasting or streaming service. We do appreciate it. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe, as it does help us fight all the algorithms that are actively fighting against us. Um, Noah, speaking of fighting against, dude, big day for college football. As we know, week 0 coming up this week. And with that comes big news out of the Pac-12 and Big Ten and the ACC. Us being former Pac-12 alumni, very excited to see this news. Well, I guess current Pac-12 alumni. Right? Yeah. Current? Current alumnus?
Yes,
Yeah, cool.
you'd have to be. I think you'd have to be dead to be a former.
Former? But even
You
then, I
know,
guess you're still currently
I don't
an alumnus, right?
check my pulse right now. I think I'm. Yeah, we are active
You're
alumnus.
active alumnus of the Pac-12, and so I mean, I'm excited. Like the gist of it, you'll get into the nitty gritty of it, but the gist of it that I got is these conferences aren't going anywhere. No one's jumping to the SEC anytime soon. That's kind of what I got from it. But Noah, let me know, what am I missing from this, and why should I be excited about this as a Pac-12, Big Ten, or ACC fan?
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing that I'll start out with is not a whole lot of concrete anything was said, and that was for a reason. It was the Pac-12 commissioner was the one who he was talking about that, and he said he addressed it, which was nice. It wasn't like they were just vague about everything and didn't say why. He said, we're purposely being vague about a lot of this because we don't want to break any promises down the road.
Okay.
I think that's a good thing. So this alliance, it's there's no written contract or anything. It's just a verbal agreement between the three commissioners um, as well as the member schools of all the conferences. Their ads have verbally agreed to this.
Okay.
It's not a merger of the conferences. They're still going to be separate conferences. They're still going to have their own identities. However, what this does do is they're, I believe, looking to make most, a big chunk, if not all, of the non-conference schedules for all these teams within the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and the ACC. They'll be playing each other a lot in those non-conference games.
Okay.
Which,
I mean,
you know, I think that's a good thing. I'm excited for it. It'll, nobody cares about these games where you go and you go play your non-conference games and football, you're blowing some team out by 50 points, and basketball, you're, have the same thing, 30, 40 point blowouts. It's like, what's the point? I think it'll help a lot. It'll help a lot too with the expanded college football playoff, as well as March Madness and basketball, having this stronger resume that all three of these conferences will now benefit from.
True.
And I think this is their counterattack to the SEC, going and getting Texas and Oklahoma, and the only thing I wonder about at this point is is the SEC going to absorb the entire Big 12 at this point, or most of the Big 12? Because in my mind, the Big 10, the Pac-12, and the ACC making this alliance, they're kind of just hanging the Big 12 out to dry. The eight remaining teams in the Big 12 are just, they're just sitting there. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, but they haven't closed the door. They haven't closed the door by any means necessary, and haven't said no, we're not allowing anyone in. We're just kind of saying no one's going anywhere. You know what I mean? And I think I didn't even think about the college basketball, what that's going to do to this. I think that you're right. That is going to make a lot of these resumes a lot stronger, and you're going to get a U of A that can win a couple games against these bigger schools and everything. Maybe getting a better seed or something like that, and see maybe a different different shakeup of teams instead of seeing the same ones dominate all the time, which would be nice, change of pace. And because that's my one problem with college sports in general is once you get a good head coach and you can get that dynasty under you, or even some a good recent history of success, like everyone's just going to flock there because it's success now. This is what's proven to work. This is what's going to work now. And I mean, that does work at kind of against our like U of A's favor because we haven't won anything in a long time. We haven't been close to winning anything in a long time. And honest to God, if it wasn't for our U of A resume of the history of our U of A basketball school, we probably wouldn't be a basketball school anymore. We played like, with all these scandals and everything. It's amazing that we get any top recruits anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean current success definitely drives future success, and I do think it's a really good thing. They said revenue and money wasn't the major factor behind all this.
Ha! Sure it wasn't.
I kind of call bullshit on that. I mean, so many more. You think about these type of matchups. So many more people are going to tune into a non-conference game that has like Clemson against Michigan than whoever else those teams are playing in their non-conference normally, and it's going to completely drive revenue.
Absolutely. As we know, college sports drive especially football drives the school's revenue for the year. So, especially these non-divisional games, you get them at home. I mean, you're bringing in a boatload of money, especially if those southern schools start traveling. Like, they're going to start going a lot of places, and those fans will follow. They are passionate about it, and it'll be crazy to see what happens in the SEC, especially.
Yeah, and well, it's a way of competing for these conferences. Like I said, with the SEC, even though they didn't really acknowledge that, it's totally a counter move to what the SEC is doing by taking in Texas and Oklahoma. Texas and Oklahoma, being two of the 5 largest sports revenue schools in the entire country. By far the 2 biggest in the Big 12. So, I think I saw something like they account for like 35% almost of the Big 12's revenue.
Wow.
Texas and Oklahoma do. So, like I said, when I said the Big 12 is left out to dry right now, they're hanging out there to dry. They're the ugly duckling. They're the weird child. They're So I don't know about that. I do know with this non-conference scheduling, it'll definitely give certain teams a leg up by giving them a tougher schedule compared to the SEC counterparts. Maybe not necessarily tougher through and through,
but there's the opportunity for
conference, But if you have an SEC team that's got 3 or 4 non-conference games against shitty nobody schools, and you're a Pac12 or Big 10 or an ACC school that's played, say you're an ACC school that's played two Big 10 schools and 2 Pac12s in your non-conference, you get them through and through just as tough of a resume as any SEC might. The flip side of that, though, however, is you lose. You got a school like Arizona, you go 0-4 in your non-conference, and then it's
Listen, we've never been a football school. We'll never be a football school. I'm not excited. Like, if we make it to a half decent bowl, I'll be fine. You know what I mean? I'm not expecting us to win any championships anytime soon. It would just be nice to see our basketball team do something except sit out because we say we should, because we are definitely guilty of everything we did. I'd like to see us make a deep run, get to the Elite 8 and Final 4, and celebrate for once. That'd be nice as a Arizona sports fan. But it's going to be this is going to obviously take a while with all of these changes going into effect. Like we said, Texas and Oklahoma, I believe they can't move until 2023. This alliance and everything, schedule's already made for this year, so we really won't see a change until next year. Maybe during college basketball. I don't know if those schedules are released yet, but it'll be interesting to see in the long run what happens with this.
Well, they did say one of the things they mentioned is they are going to comply to anything that they've already contractually agreed to.
Yeah, it's nice of them to say
schedule wise. Well, you schedule some games out, like I know Arizona in like the 2030, 2031 season are playing back and forth with Alabama. Yeah.
Sweet. 3 years in a row.
So we're not
wrecked.
we're not, none of them are going back on any of that. And then like you have media agreements, Pac-12 with the Pac-12 network, which I believe they have 2, maybe 3 years left on.
Get out,
Um,
please.
the one promising thing about that was Pac-12 commissioners talking about how they are seeking out media deals with like ESPN or like ABC or something instead.
There we go. Thank God.
And I could not be happier about that because Pac-12 network is garbage. It's
so bad.
Only available on the West Coast. So me living in Minnesota, I can't even watch half of anything Arizona's doing because Pac-12 network's only available in local markets. I don't get it. Like, why not fucking expand and
because it
offer yourself up? Like, they'd be making more money.
They would be,
but yes, the Pac-12 network is a black hole vacuum of just like sucking up money
and the worst part
and not making any.
Yeah, and the worst part is it's not even like I'll go to watch a Arizona game and then it's not even on the Pac-12 network. It's just not even on whatsoever, and it's like at least regionalize it. Like learn from sports networks. Like regionalize your shit. Like it's ridiculous, but I'm glad that we'll be getting rid of that. Hopefully, even if it's on ESPN Plus, I think that is a big upgrade from the Pac-12 network.
Yeah, I mean, God, just gotta get rid of Pac-12 network. It's terribly run.
God, so bad. So bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And my one last take though on this alliance is I think possibly the biggest loser to this is those mid-major D1 schools. I think they're going to have a much tougher time scheduling any good competition,
Yeah.
Which won't matter for like you look at any of those conferences, like all but like 1 to 3 schools in each of those mid-major conferences are only going to be the ones who are affected. But it will affect them because you look at like seeding and getting into the March Madness tournament, especially with basketball.
Oh yeah.
So much of that comes down to strength of schedule and how many like quad 1 or quad 2 victories they have. And if they're having troubles scheduling those, I think they're going to get discounted even more than they already do. I mean, the March Madness committee, especially, and like Lenardi and all those idiots, they already sleep on these mid-majors way too much and like discount them and discredit them just because their schedule is not as hard. Like, oh, are you in 28-3? Well, you only played like 2 tough games. And then they're like, oh, this Power 5 team that went 18-16 seems like a better option.
Always a better option. It's terrible.
And so, like, I think that'll get even worse if this non-conference becomes more just intertwined Power 5.
Yeah, I could definitely see that
stuff going on.
College football, I believe, like college sports, I think until the NCAA is like from structurally changed and how it's operated, how it's run, and how they pick these playoff teams and March Madness teams and everything. Until that's fixed, I think it's going to be the same old. Like they can do all these rescheduling and conference alliances and stuff, but it doesn't get really down to the big problem, which is in the end of the day, the college football committee is going to pick the teams they like. The selection committee for March Madness is going to pick the teams that they pick. And I really don't think that strength is like, it's something they can talk about, strength of schedule and everything. But in the end, they're going to pick what they want to pick. And it's going to be the same old, I think. In the long run, maybe that will change. But I think at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter when it comes to that. It's just going to be more of an NCAA issue. But besides college football coming up this weekend, week 0 as they like to call it, we'll have some lines and everything on Thursday for that. You have anything else on this alliance or anything else on college sports right
now? Just excited for college football to be finally starting. I mean, The games aren't like super exciting, but there's they'll still be worth watching, I suppose.
Yeah, they're going to be great. It's always, I mean, hey, football is all the way back, so it's nice to see. Speaking of football being all the way back, it's time for my annual time in the show where I bitch about the Bears because let me tell you, I'm still not happy. I mean, Matt Nagy, he comes out, fields a starting last preseason game, obviously because Andy Dalton's our starter. Bears fans obviously aren't happy about that. They want Fields to start. I think Dalton should start, but in the end, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's proven at this point. I think Mitch Trubisky's performance last Friday proves that Matt Nagy is a terrible coach. Who really knows what they does? Whoever's on our offensive staff is terrible in general. We just need to gut house and start new. So I can't wait to see Matt Nagy get fired at the end of the season. Like I hope he does. Like believe me, I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope Matt Nagy can pull this team together and Justin Fields is the answer, Andy Dalton's the answer. But I think it's time that the Bears organization moves on because Matt Nagy's system obviously isn't working. Maybe it'll work somewhere else, but obviously doesn't work with the Bears. So I'm over it, dude. I'm so done with it. I'm so done with the Bears. I think I'm gonna fade the Bears all season. I think that's gonna be my go-to pick every week, just out of spite. But any thoughts on Matt Nagy just saying everything that we knew he was gonna say, but nothing anyone wanted to hear because no one ever wants to hear anything he has to say?
I mean, I got nothing new on it. I mean, I understand your grievances.
And
I get it. If I were a Bears fan, I'd be pissed off at everything. But I don't know. Can't relate, I guess.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you have the MVP of the league and everything, and one of the greatest quarterbacks to play the game. So I'm so happy for you on that, Noah. But dude, and the worst part is Matt Nagy right now is kind of like that school bully who like kind of holds something above your head that you can't reach and stuff, and he's just dangling Justin Fields right there for everyone. Like, yeah, you like the new shiny toy, don't you? Well, you're not gonna get it. Go fuck yourself. That's what he's doing to every Bears fan. We all knew Dalton was gonna be the starter, but don't play Fields nearly as much as he did. And now Fields is gonna have to come in week 3, week 4, week 5, just because Dalton, even if he plays well, isn't gonna play up to anyone's standard. So it's a mess. It's gonna be a mess.
Yeah. But to go off of that analogy, he's being a school bully, holding the shiny toy away from you. But he's about to get called into the principal's office and suspended. So,
let's hope.
He's about to get kicked. He's about to get kicked out of school, and then you don't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah. Then you'll get some other schmuck in there who also doesn't know how to win. But
that's the issue with the Bears. Like, it just comes down to ownership and our GMs not knowing what they're doing, which, I mean, I guess I should be used to with Chicago sports at this point, considering the Cubs traded everyone away and they were superstars once they left. Anyway, thank you to coming to my TED Talk on that. More NFL news, Noah. We did have a Monday night game this week, first Monday night game of the season. Side note, before we get into the football, I thought the commentating, I get it's preseason and stuff, but wow, they were rusty, dude. I don't know about you. I don't know if you listened to the commentary at all, but they need some work. Like, I don't know if they got in late on a flight. It was a long day or something, but they just were not on top of the game whatsoever, I thought.
Well, all of these preseason games are being called and broadcast by local channels. So
no, this one was ESPN.
Are you sure it still wasn't the local announcers? Because
no,
that's,
it was,
all of them have been on like NFL Network, but they've been.
No, man, this was on ESPN with the Monday Night Crew, and it was. Did you not listen to it?
No, I did. I wasn't sure. I mean, Monday Night Football, in my opinion, has always been like the worst crew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've always not been top tier, but they've been decent to listen
to. It's like every season between Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. Monday night's by far the worst announcers, and Thursday night gets the worst games. It's True. What happens. It's just the routine thing. It happens every year.
True. But with that being said, I'm very excited for Peyton and Eli's commentating on the Monday night games.
They're side streaming on a different channel.
Yeah, on ESPN too.
Right.
So that's gonna be
I'm 100% gonna watch Peyton and Eli from broadcast the game from home rather than whoever the hell's calling the game on ESPN.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just listening.
I wish they were on Thursday night too, because God, I cannot stand Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
We know, Noah. You love those guys. You love those guys more than anything, especially when they call Packers games.
If it was only Sunday, I could deal with it. But why the hell you got to put them on 2 games a week?
Because, no, believe it or not, some people like them. Don't get me wrong. I haven't met anyone who can say that and admit that, because I'm definitely not one of those people either. But some people apparently enjoy them and think they're good commentators. So we might be the outliers here, dude. But just like I'm the outlier on Chris Collinsworth. I can't stand Chris Collinsworth. Like oh dude, I'm so done with him. I want him off.
You're not an outlier. He's pretty polarizing, but I for one, I enjoy Chris Collinsworth.
He can get lost. He's just so bland and boring. But I don't know, the Joe Buck thing. Like Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, I can take him or leave him, but definitely not my favorite whatsoever. Sorry, just making sure this. I saw a tweet, and I'm making sure it's not one of those fake ones that you got me on last week.
It wouldn't be the first time you.
All right, no, I'm good. No, it definitely was fake. Sorry.
Oh, was it a real tweet?
No, it was fake. It was fake.
It was a fake one.
I almost got caught, but we're good. We're good now.
What did it say? You looked concerned.
It was something regarding the Bears trading away like our Khalil Mack, because there was a story that came out earlier this week that the Raiders were asking about Khalil Mack, and the Bears said no way in the world. And so then I saw a tweet that says it went through.
The Raiders were like, "Hey, I know we traded him to you guys, but would you mind returning the gift, please?
Can we just have him back, please? We like him. We see how good he is now. Sorry we did that." But nah, dude, I'm glad the Bears. That's the one good thing the Bears did. Like, so good to Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace for not trading away probably the best player on the team. So good on them for that.
Anyways,
big
Saints Jaguars.
Yeah, Saints Jaguars Monday Night Football. It ended up being a closer game than it should have been. Jaguars lost to the Saints 21-23. With Jacksonville scoring 18 in the fourth quarter with all the third strings in. So their third strings at least look promising. I really can't say about the rest of the Jaguars team, though. Like, my goodness. Like, they are obviously in a rebuild stage, and this kind of confirmed it, I believe, for everyone.
Yeah. Jacksonville with a major backdoor cover in this one.
Yeah.
I saw 92% of bettors bet on the Saints to cover.
Yeah.
Who bet on the spread on this one. And I'm saying, Vegas, usually they try to get it as close to 50-50 as they can. They obviously messed up on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And Vegas got lucky that Jacksonville was able to late game cover. They score a touchdown with under 2 minutes left and go for 2 to make it a 2-point game.
Oh man, I saw that. That was great. I was just watching that after seeing the line earlier in the day, and I was like, come on, you guys got to do it. Please, backdoor cover. That would be amazing. That's so good on them for backdoor covering. But dude, the Jaguars in general just...
and that 2-point conversion. That 2-point conversion also pushed the over on the game. So.
Oh, did it really? I didn't see that. I didn't know that. Hey.
Depending on the line, but either the touchdown or the 2-point did. So
Dang. Wait on you, Jaguars, ruining a lot of bettors Monday nights. Well,
they either made or ruined a lot of people's nights there at the end with fucking CJ Beathard and the third strings.
Yeah, they look good. They looked like a football team. They moved the ball well. They were dunking on the Saints third stringers, but I think it's so bad that we are talking only about the third stringers, and we haven't once talked about the number 1 overall draft pick this year, Trevor Lawrence. Like, unbelievable. Like, that team just looks rough in general. I mean, like you alluded to a little bit earlier, that offensive line needs some help, and it needs some help before they get this kid murdered like Joe Burrow got murdered last season.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's going to be just as bad.
Yeah.
If not worse. I mean, Jacksonville had a terrible offensive line last season. They brought back all 5 starters.
Mind-blowing, honestly. Mind-blowing that they would bring back all 5 starters.
Well, here's why it's as mind-blowing as it is. They have like 70-some million in cap space.
Yeah, they got a bunch of
They
cap
could
room.
have gone and bought like 3 new offensive linemen, like 3 new top-of-the-line offensive linemen. It's like, let's say you got a family of 5. Your kids are old enough to drive. You got 3 fucking shitty beat up Toyota Corollas, and you got plenty of money in the bank. You know, you can go buy like an Audi, a BMW, and something else nice. You know, a brand
a new
new,
Corolla.
yeah, or even 5 brand new Corollas. But no, you're like we're actually going to hold on to this money for another year and drive these shitbox Corollas around that are, you know, not good. They're not operating correctly. They're not getting the job done how you want them to. You know, they're still functional, but barely. And you got all this money in your bank account and you're just still sitting around just, with the shit Corollas.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong.
It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they didn't try to improve their offensive line at all. Their starters and offensive line played 2, if not 3 quarters.
Yeah.
I think some of them, or if not all of them, were still in when Minshew took over, and they were terrible. They can't provide any fucking pass coverage.
None whatsoever, and that was even against the Saints secondary, like second team. You know what I mean? And if as a first team you can't get it done against a second team, I don't know what you're doing with starting jobs. Like, and if the Jaguars were in a tough cap space, I would understand having to suffer through another year with a rough offensive line. But it's not even like these guys are improving from last year. You know what I mean? Like, I would understand if, like, you know what I mean, bringing in 5 brand new guys. You know, they don't mesh well. They don't know each other. You know what I mean? Another year in the system, like, that's the one thing I can kind of think of that was going through their head is we're giving them another year together as a unit, another year to bond and everything, blah, blah, blah. But that year obviously didn't matter. This training camp and everything didn't matter because they still can't block anyone to save their lives, and they're going to get Trevor Lawrence hurt, just like Joe Burrow did. At least the Bengals tried a little bit to protect him a little bit more. Not much, but a little bit. But, you know, I mean, at least they show that effort.
No, the Bengals are still fucking leaving Joe Burrow out to dry. I mean, the draft says all you need to know is the fact that they went out and got Jamar Chase. And they're like, here, have another receiving weapon.
Yeah.
Fucking offensive lineman.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you look at Trevor, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say with Trevor, I don't even know how to judge him yet because
no.
The only thing I've seen from him is he's played with really, really good protection and really open receivers for so long that he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, he's taking all of these sacks because he thinks he has more time than he does. And, you know, that's a learning curve thing, which is why I think he's not going to have a good start to his career. He's going to have a rough first 6 or 8 games of the season until he can figure out the fact that he has like no time to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And once he realizes he needs to get that ball out in 1 or 2 seconds every time, it's going to be rough for him, or he's going to need to run the ball a lot more. And he's not slow, but he's not the fastest guy, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think fans really need to kind of, you know what I mean? Hedge their expectations on this. I mean, this is a guy who's had nothing but success coming into the NFL, hasn't lost a regular season game since high school, and he's going to come in and get his first 5 losses in a row. Like, that's going to be rough on the kid. Not only that, he's going to get beat up and hit more than he ever has in his career. And with that being said, and I mean, his numbers show it, just like you said, he thinks he has too much time in the pocket. He was 14 for 23 and 113 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So at least he didn't throw the ball away into a defender's hands. You know what I mean? He was good and he kept it in, but I don't have his stats right now for, yards lost and everything, or throwaways or sacks or anything, but it was high. I mean, it was scary how many hits he took.
Well, let me look that up right now. I think he got sacked at least 4 times, and he only played a half.
Yeah, it was a lot for a preseason game. How much he got sacked? Like, he might be the new Russell Wilson, honestly, getting sacked so many times. But Gardner Minshew, kind of the same stat line: 13 for 21, 149 yards with 1 interception, and then CJ Beathard comes in 9 and 14, 121 yards, 2 interceptions to push the backdoor cover, including that 2-point conversion. Good stat line on him, but
I was wrong. Lawrence only got sacked once, but he was on the ground. He got hit a shit ton. Yeah. And Minshew was better about that. But Minshew's also played on this shit ass team for 2 years, so he knows
how to get down and protect himself in situations like that. He, like you said,
not even get down. He just Minshew just knows he's got to get rid of the ball quicker because he's had 20 starts over the past 2 years of getting fucking shit on by this offensive line that's absolute garbage.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just a rough team this year. They're going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Not as bad as the Texans because no one's going to be as bad as the Texans. But poor kid, it's going to be a rough year to be in the NFL for him, but he'll get through it. I do think he'll have a better career in the long run. I think he just needs to get on either a better team or they need to invest in an O-line.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence out here playing on all Madden.
Yeah, seriously. He's going from arcade pro to all Madden and competitive,
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence been playing on he's been playing on arcade rookie to arcade pro his entire life, and now he's jumping straight into competitive all Madden.
It's amazing. It's and that's gonna be rough for him. But team that wasn't that rough to watch in the beginning of the game, and with a quarterback who I think we can call the Saints starter, but I don't know if they'll call him the Saints starter. Jameis Winston had an incredible game. He went 9 for 10, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns, couple bombs. Taysom Hill, obviously.
In 3 drives.
In three
drives.
That's notable. In 3 drives.
He only played 3 drives.
Yeah, that's impressive. That is a great stat line for him in the preseason. I think
about a quarter and a half. I think quarter and a half, maybe a little less than a quarter and a half.
Not bad. I mean, that is some good work. That is efficiency. That is a lot better than the Jameis Winston we have seen in the past. With that being said, their biggest investment, Taysom Hill, 11 for 20, 138 yards and 1 tutty. He didn't even rush for. Taysom Hill had 0 rushing yards. And that's what Taysom Hill does, is rush. That's what he does. And so, yeah, the Saints, I think they need to go with Jameis Winston. I think this game proved it more than anything. And Taysom Hill, I think he needs to stay a gadget guy. I think they need to restructure his contract, try to free up some cap space or something, because I don't think he's their starting quarterback anytime soon whatsoever. I don't think he will ever start another game in the NFL if he can help it. I understand he'll be their backup still and everything, but man, as a Saints fan, you just hope Jameis Winston doesn't get injured, because he does give your team the best chance to win at this point.
Yeah, all I can say is, holy shit, baby!
Dude,
this is
the
so Jameis.
Oh, Jameis Winston.
This is the good. This is the good side of Jameis that we've seen for his entire career. This is the potential that has been shadowed upon by the negatives of his game for so long. And I think Sean Payton and the Saints are going to get rid of a lot of that negative. And I think we're going to see Jameis absolutely explode, especially when he gets Michael Thomas back, especially when they can get him more receiving threats. Marquez Callaway, a second-year receiver. I mean, oh my God, did you see the 2 catches that Marquez Callaway made?
Great catches.
Both of those, fantastic. But also great throws into tight coverage by Jameis. But, Marquez Callaway, he's someone, look out for fantasy. If he's available right now, pick him up. I think he's going to be huge the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season until Michael Thomas gets back. But, man, Jameis was supposed to play the entire first half. They pulled him out about halfway, maybe a little less, through the second quarter. I think that's all they need to know. Yeah, I think I think the Saints coaches, they saw enough. They were like, okay. And they pulled him out because they don't want him to get injured. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play a single snap.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play a single snap in their 3rd preseason game, that means he's the starter.
Yeah, Taysom Hill, I think, is going to start this 3rd preseason game and wrap it up for the Saints. And he'll be, I think they'll still use him as a gadget guy. He's still valuable in that role. However, I wouldn't see.
Well, that's why they're keeping 4.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean,
that's why they're keeping 4 quarterbacks on the depth chart rather than most teams only keep. Most teams 3. Some teams will even go as down to 2, and then if something happens, bring in another guy. But they've said they're keeping 4 on there, and I think that's because Taysom Hill's they're gonna play him in more of a in his gadget role that they played him at last year with Drew Brees. He's gonna take some snaps at fullback, tight end, whatever. And Jameis will be the quarterback. Jameis will be the guy, and look for Jameis to have a big season, man. I don't know. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be impressive.
I do too, but you know what, Noah? With all this talk about the Saints, we might as well go into our talk about the NFC South. Um, Saints coming into this year plus 330 to win the division. Over under is 9.5 games. How big of a year do you think James Winston's going to have? They open up against the Packers week 1. That's a rough start. But again, they're playing against a lot of teams like the football team, the Giants, Panthers that don't really have an identity. What do you think going into this season? The Saints need to work on. How do you think they'll go this season? And what are you thinking over under wise?
Um, I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be right there with Tampa Bay. I do like the Bucks by a slight margin to win this division, but that's only because the Bucks have a slightly easier schedule.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think these two teams can match up like really well. They're both going to be really good. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Saints. I saw today the Saints are the three teams that have had the most people bet on them to miss the playoffs are Cowboys number 1, Saints number 2, and Broncos number 3. The Cowboys were like plus 110 to miss the playoffs. Saints were like minus 130. I don't know why you would take the Saints minus 130 to miss the playoffs. This team is a playoff team. They're going to be good. They're bringing back a lot of their same defense. That was a pretty strong defense.
It was a very good defense last year.
They got games. If Jameis can perform how I think he will perform, it is an upgrade at quarterback position based on last year's Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Not career Drew Brees. Not career Drew Brees, but last year's Drew Brees. It is an upgrade to have Jameis.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, noodle arm Drew Brees was not good the last 3 years.
You still got Kamara. They're lacking a lot of receiving weapons this year. Emmanuel Sanders gone. Michael Thomas is going to be out for a while. So that could hurt them early on in the season. But this is a team that I would look for, especially once they start clicking and getting that chemistry going. This could be a real dangerous later second half team. And if they do make the playoffs, this will be a team that I would not want to have to face in the playoffs. I think they're going to be really hitting their mojo later on in the season.
Okay.
So that being said,
yeah,
I would say that their floor, like 9-7, if they really get off to a slow start.
You want it at 9-8 because it's a 17-game season. Okay,
yeah,
just making sure.
Yeah, sure. Stupid extra game. I'm surprised that's only the first time I've messed up on that.
Honestly, either of us really. It was going to get done eventually, though. It'll probably get done later this season, too. I'll say the Bears are going to miss. They're not going to get 500, and you're going to be like, well, yeah, obviously they can't.
And then I'm going to go as high as 14-3 ceiling-wise.
Wow. That is
I think there's a big range on this team. Like I said, if Jameis can produce a 35 touchdown season and cut those interceptions down to 12 to 15, is going to be a dangerous Saints team.
So at 9-8, at 9-8 with a floor and a ceiling of 14-3, you think they're going to win double-digit games, Noah? What do you think their actual win's going to be? Because honest to God, I think you're overvaluing the Saints right now. What do you think their actual is going to be if you had to bet $100 on it right
now? 11.
11. Wow, 11-6. You think they're going to go?
Yep.
That's bold. Honestly, I don't get me wrong. I do think, as you said, I agree with you that Jameis is going to be an upgrade at quarterback. I agree that they are bringing back a lot of the same defense and everything. However, I do not think this is the same team whatsoever. I do think they're going to struggle a little bit with Jameis at quarterback. And like you said, I think it's going to be a detriment to them that they don't have the offensive weapons that they had the last couple seasons because of their cap issue. This offense is going to be a lot different than what we've seen in the past. And with that being said, I have them at your floor actually winning 9-8. I do think they'll be positive. I think they'll be a better team, not one of these teams that are going into a full rebuild by any means necessary. They just don't have the offense though to do it, to pull it off, and it's disappointing. But they're definitely, I think, going to take second in this division. They're definitely a threat, but maybe a wild card spot. But I don't see them making the playoffs outright.
mean, like I said, look for they might start the season a little slower, but I mean, if they're halfway through the season, they get Michael Thomas back. Marquez Callaway really proves to be the receiving threat that he looks like so far in preseason.
Yeah, it could be.
Man, I don't know. I mean, they could be, like I said, and could is the operative word. I'm not,
not betting the
not
house
betting
on
a
it
lot on them to. No, like I said, I do think the Bucks, should be the favorite to win this division. They're, but saying watch out for the Saints. Don't just blindly, throw everything on the Bucks because they might have some trouble coming at them.
Yeah, we will see. We will see with that. The Saints are definitely an interesting team to watch for this year. A team that's not really going to be interesting to watch for whatsoever this year, I think, except for one player in particular, that being the Atlanta Falcons. Coming in to win the division, odds are plus 700, over under on 7.5 games. Matt Ryan, I think we all kind of know he's done. He just has too big of a contract now for them to move on. Kyle Pitts is really is the story here. How he's going to perform this year, if he really is worth all the hype that he was given. I think he'll do great in this system. I think it'll be a nice option for Matt Ryan to have with a good young tight end. With that being said, though, I'm not very optimistic on this team whatsoever. I do think 7.5 games is a little low. I would take the under on that, but I wouldn't take it much higher. I think Vegas has that line pretty good. What are your thoughts on the Atlanta Falcons, who obviously struggled last year and trying to get back in it this year?
I think we're going to see the same thing we've seen the last couple of years. It's going to be a combination of shitty defense and somewhat productive offense that has too much turnovers.
Yeah. They had a lot of turnovers last year. It's so many turnovers. That was ridiculous.
You got a new coach coming in, but I honestly don't. I don't see too much of a change in identity. I mean, you got Pitts coming in, you got Julio going out. I think, not saying that'll be a 1-for-1 trade, but I think you get a lot of the same like size and athleticism out of Pitts in the receiving game as you did out of Julio. Pitts will hopefully, being younger, be able to stay more healthy than Julio has been. But, Matt Ryan's getting up there in age. I've never been super high on Matt Ryan in the first place. And there's no reason to change that.
Wait, so
I think they're often.
You're saying this about an elite quarterback. Matt Ryan has been described as an elite quarterback in the past. Just a quick take from you, Noah. So quick take from you, Noah. Who's a better quarterback? Who's more elite, Joe Flacco or Matt Ryan?
Is that where you were going with that? Did I read your mind?
Yeah, you read my mind. I was going right there because I think those are two comparable quarterbacks. They both made one Super Bowl, won one Super Bowl, were called elite, and then just kind of fizzled out. So who's more elite?
Matt Ryan never.
Didn't he? Oh, I'm sorry.
Matt Ryan never won a Super Bowl.
He made it, and then they choked. That's right. That was the Patriots' comeback. My bad.
And then they blew a 28. God. And they blew it 28-3.
But anyway, who's more elite, Matt Ryan or Joe Flacco? Because Joe Flacco at least has a Super Bowl win, right?
That's so tough.
That?
And a Super Bowl MVP.
And a Super Bowl MVP.
But I'm gonna give a slight edge to Matt Ryan just because Matt Ryan's been a starter his whole career, and he still has a starting job. Flacco's like a backup, but like, okay, I mean, he won. He had to compete. He had to compete for the backup spot behind Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia.
Don't get me wrong, that's insulting. But however, I think kind of what happened to Tebow happened to Joe Flacco. You know what I mean? The Ravens get a new shiny toy, and then we're gonna get them out of town. Even though they did him so well.
Yeah, but Flacco was on the Broncos too, and he lost the starting job with the Broncos.
Because of John Elway's new toy. I mean, John Elway, that guy was going to start all the time, and especially with the GM giving the vote of confidence right now, like Joe Flacco ain't going to wait. Yeah, no, Joe Flacco ain't going to. No, shit. I'm remembering this right.
What?
He's on Denver, right?
I don't know. Either way.
Anyway.
Joe
Flacco is more elite than Matt Ryan. Joe Flacco is way more elite than Matt Ryan. The only reason why Matt Ryan is still an NFL starting quarterback is because he has a stupid contract that no one could get out of to save their life. I bet you they wanted to shop Matt Ryan more than they wanted to shop Julio Jones, but everyone took a look at that contract and was like, nah, man, we're good.
That's because they made the Super Bowl like what 3-4 years ago, and then they signed him to some massive extension.
Massive, and then they have never been the same since. Oh man. But anyway, getting back to the Falcons, floor ceiling on them. No,
Matt Ryan.
What?
I was just gonna say Matt Ryan's one of those like diaper quarterbacks. You know how like quarterbacks like the one position where like some of them look like they're wearing a diaper because they got no ass whatsoever.
No, I've never heard that, Noah.
It's not all of them, but like Matt Ryan's 100% one of those diaper quarterbacks where he looks like he's just wearing a diaper underneath his pants. Am I wrong?
I will. I honestly cannot think of it right now. I will have to watch the next Falcons game and get back to you on that. Stay tuned.
I mean, Peyton Manning was one too. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But like Peyton Manning also was like a diaper quarterback. Like, he looks like he's wearing a diaper.
I guess I've just never noticed it. I'm gonna have to give it a watch. Like, I'll have to pay closer attention.
Tom Brady's another one. Tom Brady's a diaper quarterback.
This is the thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe just some thing. I mean, look at like fucking look at him. There's like in quarterbacks like one of the only positions, but like a third of the quarterbacks in the league look like they're wearing a fucking diaper because they just have zero ass and just like, and then they have all this like extra pant room that's just like sitting there. And I'm like, man, they got to start like tailoring these football pants to these players, you know, so they look better. Like, seriously. I'm putting a patent on that. Nobody can steal that idea. I'm tailored football pants. That's my idea. I'm making millions on that.
I don't really think Tom Brady or Matt Ryan are out there like, damn, I hope my ass looks good for TV right now. Hope it doesn't look like I'm wearing.
Well, they're probably not, but they don't look good for TV. So I mean, you know, that's two in the same division right there.
So So reporting now, breaking news, the NFC South has 2 diaper quarterbacks as of this moment. We will keep you posted.
You know, Jameis isn't. Jameis is packing the heat back there. You know for a fact. Hey, Jameis is a people's quarterback.
He's the people's quarterback. That's what you're gonna label him.
I said he's a people's quarterback.
A people's quarterback.
He's a man for the people. He's a man for the people. I mean, it's hard to not like Jameis. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it's pretty easy not to like him when he throws like more interceptions than anyone's ever thrown in his rookie season, even more than Peyton Manning.
No, Peyton Manning has the record for most in his rookie season.
I thought Jameis took that over.
No, he had a 30-30 season. The only quarterback to ever throw 30 plus touchdowns and 30 interceptions.
So, okay. I'm still on this diaper quarterback.
But he was But he was not. He was not the first quarterback to throw 30 interceptions. That has happened like 6 or 7 times. He was the first to throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions.
I mean, okay, dude, yeah.
So he's kind of a boss. But anyways, Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons with their diaper quarterback Matt Ryan and that team coming back floor ceiling. What do you got on them?
I don't like their roster any more than last year. I do think the new coach will be more disciplined.
It's a rough and the over under at 7.5. That's rough.
I'm gonna go looking at their schedule too. I'm gonna go 4 wins for their under, or not under.
Their floor.
For their fucking floor. Yeah, 4.
Yeah, 4-13. Okay.
4-13. Ceiling for this team. I mean, man, I don't know. 8 and 9 for the ceiling.
Reasonable, I can see.
What did you say the over under for wins was at?
7.5.
Yeah, I would go big time under on that, to be honest. I don't think Kyle Pitts is going to make enough of a difference to like propel this team to an extra like couple wins.
So, okay, let me hear your actual, and then I'll give you my explanation for my record for them. What do you think they're actually going to do if you had $100 to bet right now?
6-11.
Okay, I can see that. That's kind of their floor for me. I'm going with 8-9. I don't think this is a good team by any means. However, I do think it's a more experienced team. I think Matt Ryan being under center this season with their schedule is going to do them a lot better than people expect, because week 1 they're playing the Eagles, and then you have the Giants the football team, that's a new quarterback, new system. You have the Jets with a rookie quarterback. Dolphins, who knows what's going to happen there. The Panthers aren't going to be that good this year. They're playing the 49ers late with Trey Lance probably starting by then, so I'm not expecting much out of Trey Lance year 1. And then they're playing a questionable Saints to end the season, and we'll see what injuries do and everything like that. I think if this team can stay healthy, they can squeak out 8 wins and just miss wild card, just miss playoffs, but still be in a okay position. I think they're going to be kind of like the Bears were last season. You know what I mean? They they won a bunch of games out of nowhere. They still kind of hung in there, and they got out, they missed out on a good draft pick and kind of made the playoffs, kind of didn't.
Well, they do start against the Eagles, so that will certainly help.
Yeah. And but don't get me wrong, the Buccaneers Giants football team, that's a rough 3-game stretch right there. Especially being at Buccaneers
in my survivor pool that I entered, I'm taking a very risky strategy and picking the Falcons week 1 at home against the Eagles, because I think the Falcons are a shitty team, but
I think the Eagles
me too. But it'll be real bad if I get bit in the ass and I'm eliminated week 1. But
that'd be rough.
Hey, we're going for it.
Yeah,
we're going for it, because then I don't burn any good teams, and I'm in better shape than most of the other people. I don't know. We'll see.
We will. But yeah, I think experience at the quarterback position is going to be big for them this year. We'll see. We will see. Next, Noah, I want to talk about your favorite quarterback in the NFL next. Is that okay? Can we do that? Well, your second favorite quarterback. I'm sorry. We'll talk about your favorite quarterback afterwards. Who do you think I think your second favorite quarterback is?
Well, I don't actually know. I'm like 50-50 on this with the other 2 teams.
Well, we're going to talk about your second favorite quarterback, and then we'll talk about your favorite quarterback. So your second favorite quarterback, obviously, the man from the New York Jets, Sam Darnold, and the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, okay. We're going that direction.
Yes, we are. Panthers making the questionable decision of getting rid of Teddy Bridgewater last season in favor of Sam Darnold. Noah, I don't know about you. Well, I do know about you, but I'm kind of the same way. I have zero hope for this team whatsoever this year. I think they'll get a couple easy victories over teams like the Texans and the Eagles and the Vikings. However, not really expecting much whatsoever. This is obviously make or break for Sam Darnold. If he can have a season like Matt Stafford has had in the past, where he plays good and it's obvious that he's good, the team's just not good, I think that's going to set a different narrative for the rest of his career. But if it's just the team stinks in general and he's not helping the situation whatsoever, I think a lot more people are going to be on your side of the Sam Darnold argument come mid-season, come end of the season. What are your thoughts on this exciting team and your second favorite quarterback in the NFL?
Dude, Sam Darnold fucking sucks.
Wow.
That's just, I have to leave it with that. He's terrible. He's fucking garbage. They've equipped him with really good receiving weapons. He's got Christian McCaffrey. If this offense is only putting up 18 to 20 points a game, like I think it very might well fucking do, that's all the proof you need. All the proof in the world you need to know that Sam Darnold is just a garbage quarterback who doesn't belong in the NFL.
I don't know, man. I mean, if Christian McCaffrey, his big issue right now is kind of that he's been getting injured. Like, you know what I mean? Last 2 seasons he's gotten the injury bug. If he can't stay healthy.
Yeah,
if he can't stay healthy, they can't establish the run game. You just picked up what?
I just picked up Chuba Hubbard on my fantasy team. I had a spot available because I had ETN, and now he's out for the fucking season. So I'm like perusing. I'm like, what do I need to do? I drafted an abundance of running backs to begin with, but I'm looking at that. ETN's gone. Chuba Hubbard's there. Picked up Chuba Hubbard because if McCaffrey gets injured, Chuba Hubbard's going to get a big workload, and he's been looking good in preseason so far, minus the fumbling issues that he's had, but
yeah,
if he's Carolina's only answer back there, good fantasy value there. But see if McCaffrey can stay healthy. If he does, if those receivers stay healthy, Darnold literally has like all the weapons he needs to have a great season. If he has anything less than a great season, it's his fault.
Yeah, he needs a great season to prove that he belongs this year.
If he has less than a good season, if he has an average or a bad season, he shouldn't play another fucking starting snap in the NFL ever.
Yeah, I mean, this is his make or break year. He has the weapons. He has an O-line that's not terrible. He has a good offensive mind behind him. He has a staff that's supporting him. Like, he has all of the weapons right now and all the tools to succeed and do half decent. I mean, looking at their schedule, Jets week 1, Texans week 3.
Yeah, they're gonna lose that one.
The Jets?
I already said that. They're gonna lose that one.
That's right. I forgot about that.
No, the Panthers are gonna lose that. Jets are gonna walk into Carolina, and Zach Wilson's gonna outplay the fuck out of Sam Darnold and show that Sam Darnold's a fucking bitch. The Jets are gonna win like 7 games this year. The Panthers are gonna win less. Like, I'm calling it right now. That's like one of my firm main takes on the season. That you can come back at the end of the season and say either I'm a fucking idiot or I'm a fucking genius, because I'm telling you the Jets will be better than the Panthers, and Wilson's going to have a much better year than Darnold, who's in his 4th, 5th year, and Wilson's a rookie. So,
all right. So if you're so down on this team, Noah, what's their floor? How low do you think they can go on this year?
Their team is not terrible. As much as I hate Darnold, their team isn't like terrible. They're I'd say like middle of the line defense. They've equipped Darnold with a shit ton of weapons receiving, and you got McCaffrey. I still put their floor at 4 wins, 4-13.
Fair enough.
Because I do think Darnold can royally fuck this up enough to cause them problems.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, your quarterback Sorry, go ahead.
Like I've said before, he's not even the best quarterback on the team.
Who's their backup?
It's PJ Washington, whatever his name is.
Oh, he's solid. He's not bad.
I firmly believe he's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold.
Well,
and if Darnold's bad enough or deep enough into the season, we'll get to see PJ Washington and get to see him play. I hope we do, because I think he's got some promise.
Yeah, I think he does too. He's from the XFL, right?
He was in the XFL, yeah. But I see a more like a less refined version of like Deshaun Watson, play wise. Hopefully not off the field wise,
Yeah, hopefully not. But, whatever's going on with that situation.
I think PJ Washington could be good. I think PJ Washington's better than Sam Darnold is. So I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully we get to see him at some point this season.
All right. So then, for their ceiling, what do you got?
Just because of their schedule being easier, I guess like maybe 8 and 9.
Yeah, I can see that as well.
So I guess is that the same range I gave for the Falcons, essentially?
Yeah, about the same range. Yeah, 4-13, 8-9. Yeah, you seem to think they're about equal. Do you think Sam Darnold? You said Sam Darnold's a diaper quarterback. Is he? Because I know you said Matt Ryan and Tom Brady are, but does that make the NFC South have 3 diaper quarterbacks? Do you count him?
That's a good question. I don't know that. I want to say yes, but I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember exactly. I unfortunately haven't watched too many Jets games. They haven't been too exciting.
Well, we will have to figure that out, and we will report on that next time, whether he is a diaper quarterback.
I want to say I don't think so, but it wouldn't surprise me also.
We'll definitely take a look. But Noah, what do you think their you have $100? What do you think their actual record's going to be?
Let's say they tie the Falcons for last place in that division at 6-11.
Yeah, I have. I mean, Yeah, I don't think this is a good team. Like, I mean, it's a good team. I think the quarterback play can be detrimental. I have them at 5-12 going into this season. Not really expecting a lot out of them. I think they're just going to figure out that they need to get a new quarterback at the end of this season. So, unfortunate they have to waste
What's
the
their
year.
over under at?
Oh, I don't think I said that.
I'm
To win
stupid.
the division, it's a
Gotta be
950.
like,
Over under is 7.5. So I would slam that under.
okay, so they are the farthest odds to win the division.
Yes, they are dead last.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're kind of on.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
there.
this is another team that I would totally take the under on.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Them
Now,
and the Falcons both at 7.5. I would
yep.
take the under on both of those.
I take the over on the Falcons, but that's just me. Now, Noah, the moment you've been waiting for, honestly. I know you've been, like, since I said we were talking about the NFC South today, I know you've just been so excited to talk about, honestly, the greatest quarterback to ever pick up a football. The most winningest quarterback in the world. He is more likely to win a Super Bowl than Steph Curry is to make a 3-point shot. Of course, I'm talking about the GOAT Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or as I should say, the Tampa Bay Gronkaneers. Here we go. To win the division, they're at minus 185, over under 11.5 wins. Tom Brady has said that he wants to go perfect this season. Noah, do you think they will go perfect this season? And do you think Tom Brady will go back-to-back this year?
Hell fucking no, and hell fucking no. Well, sorry, hell fucking no, and probably hell no to the second one.
Okay. All right. So, what are your general thoughts?
There's
Because they did bring everyone back from last year. You know what I mean? Same team, same
zero chance they go undefeated.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that whatsoever, dude. This schedule. I'm looking at the schedule right now. It's hard for me to pick a game they lose. There's one game I think they might lose, and that's against the Bills in week what is that? Week 14, I think. Week 13. But that's about it.
Why though? Like, what's your thought process on that? Why do you not see games they can lose? Because they lost plenty of games last year.
Yes, absolutely. But again, that was
they went 11-5 last year. They lost 5 games in the regular season. Why, with the same starters? What makes you think that's going to change?
Because it wasn't like they had how do I say this? Okay, so they had like a core group of starters, don't get me wrong, but they brought in a lot of different pieces for that offense and for that defense. Just throughout
and they got fucked by teams with good defenses.
Yeah, but that's because due to COVID protocols and everything, they had to do everything virtually. They really didn't get a chance to mesh and get to know each other as a team and really mold. And I think as we got later in the season, we saw them do that. We saw them really pulled together and be as good as they were supposed to be the entire season. And I think what Tom Brady and all of them said at the end of the Super Bowl was they were just starting to play their best football. I could agree with that completely. And I think having a whole offseason together, OTAs, training camp, everything, I am really excited for this team, and I do think they have the chance to pull off a perfect season. They're too good. They really are. And with Tom Brady's leadership and everything, he's shown that he can pull together any team and just kind of walk into a Super Bowl. They're my favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. And honest to God, I'll give my pick right now. I think they're going 17-0 this season. I really do. Like I said, that Bills game week 13 is a little bit of a question mark for me. But besides that, I don't see a game they lose this year. Even week 3 against the Rams, I think you're overhyping the Rams. I think the Buccaneers are better. The Saints, Jameis Winston doesn't stand a chance against that defense. That defense ripped apart Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. And then honest to God, the rest of the teams that I'm looking at right now, they just don't stack up. They're good football teams, but they just don't stack up to what Tom Brady and the Buccaneers are this season. And I really do think they're going to go all the way undefeated and be the first team to ever go 17-0. It's going to be incredible to watch.
No, there's zero fucking chance they go 17-0.
No, there's not, dude. I just told you why it wasn't why it's plausible that they'll do this. They have
dude,
an
I look
easy
at their
schedule.
So playing at the Rams, at the Patriots, at the Saints, at Washington, home against the Bills, home against the Saints. Like, those are easy. At the Colts, those are easy games to you.
Don't get me wrong, not easy games, but I do think they'll win them. Like, I don't think they'll be close. I think they'll win by a touchdown or something.
No. This team's not even going to get the fucking 1 seed in the NFC.
Okay, I will. No, they are. They are, because they're going to go 17-0 or 16-1.
No, they're going to get the fucking 3 seed behind the Packers and the Rams. They're going to have the 3 seed.
You and these Rams, dude, I don't get it. I get the Packers. The Packers, I can agree with you. They are probably the contenders with the Buccaneers to win the NFC. I do not see this Rams team being anywhere as near as good as he can, because let's be real, it's not Jared Goff that's the issue. It's Sean McVay at this point. Sean McVay, he has been running the same offense since Bill Belichick broke him in the Super Bowl. And so with that, all of the defenses have just been copying him. It worked for Bill, it'll work for us. And so that's why Goff stopped being effective in that offense. That's why he stopped being a turnover machine, because at some point the defense is just a step ahead of you, just like Bill Belichick was in the Super Bowl. So it's on Sean McVay to change that offense. I mean, Matt Stafford, he'll do better than Goff because he can make some of those tougher throws that Goff isn't experienced with. But it's not going to change the team bringing in a quarterback. You got to change the system a little bit.
I disagree from that standpoint, but let's stay on the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I think I think there's a legitimate chance they lose 2 out of their first 5 games.
Okay, so then let's just get right in. So sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, I don't think the Cowboys is anything to worry about. I don't think the Falcons in week 2 is, but you hit this 3-game stretch of at the Rams, at the Patriots, and the Dolphins at home. Like I said, I expect they'll lose at least 1 of those, and I wouldn't be surprised if they lose 2 of those.
We will see. So,
and then they got a little bit of a break, but then you got at the Saints and at the Washington football team in back-to-back weeks. I think they lose, 1 of those games.
The after football team after a bye. Tom Brady after a bye is excellent.
Is he? I don't know.
His stats last time I checked, the stats were pretty good on his week after bye. It might have been. I know
his fucking career win percentage is like 70 to like 70 something. It doesn't even, it's like low 70s. It doesn't, fucking bye week stat doesn't matter.
But still. All right, no. So you're down on this team. Obviously, you think they'll be a contender, but not anywhere near how good I think they're going to do. What do you think their floor ceiling is here?
Yeah, dude, I think they're about the same as fucking last year. I think they're going to lose like 4 to 6 regular season games, and they're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to be a threat in the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to go all the way again this year. I think they got lucky with their route to the playoffs and through the playoffs last year. And, I'm going to have a pretty tight floor ceiling with these guys. I think their floor is 11-6. But I think their ceiling's 13-4. 14-3. I'll say for the ceiling, just because it's a ceiling. I'll say maybe they go 14-3, best case scenario.
All right, so then what do you think their actual is?
But they're going to lose.
I don't think they're
going to lose
that many games.
And well, here's my problem: is most of their tough games are on the road. Like, they don't have a lot. Like, most of their tough games aren't at home; they're on the road, which I think will cause problems. And that's just that's a scheduling thing. Like, I'd have them a game or 2 higher if they had a lot of these tough games at home, but they don't. So,
all right. So then
I have them at 12. I have them at 12-5.
Wow.
Which is why I said I've got them, a game or 2 behind both the Packers and the Rams. I have them winning the division by 1 game over the Saints and taking the 3 seed into the playoffs.
Well, obviously, I disagree with you. This team's going to do it this year. I mean, they really are. Like I said all before, I'm excited to see them do it. I'm excited to witness history, and something that we'll probably never see again, a quarterback and a team go 17-0 and then win a Super Bowl. It's going to be unbelievable to watch.
Except for when they lose by week 4.
We'll see. We will see. No, you got anything else for the D-Gens before we call it a day?
Yeah, college football right around the corner. We're getting excited for that. Can't
Yes,
wait.
sir.
NFL shortly after that. A little bummed by ETN breaking whatever the fuck he broke and needing surgery.
For the season. That sucks. And so for anyone who didn't hear, ETN, running back for the Jaguars, he broke something and he has to be put on IR, but because of what was it? Was it an ankle or it was a lower body, wasn't it?
No, it was something in his foot, but he needs surgery and he's likely out for the season. So don't draft him in fantasy if you still got your draft coming up.
Yeah, because they have to put him on the IR, and due to I believe the cuts that are going on and everything, they can't keep him on the roster for the season, and that's why his season's over, even if he was healthy enough to come back. So hope for a speedy recovery. Hope he'll be strong coming into next year. Thursday we will cover. We'll be back on Thursday covering preseason and college football week 0 action.
College football week 0,
whoop,
baby.
Whoop. We are all the way back, so we will see you Thursday with more Degenerate Takes.